Hello, in this video I'd like to give you a quick overview of Worldox integration with Microsoft Teams. So if your site happens to be using Microsoft Teams for file sharing and collaboration, Worldox has integration with Teams that can be set up by your Worldox administrator or IT support staff so you can send files from Worldox to Teams and also retrieve files from Teams and get them into Worldox. So I'm going to go over a few examples here in this quick overview. One, here I have a matter that I've been working on already in Teams. So I've already been sending files to Teams for this matter. And whenever you create a new team in Teams, in Worldox is going to create it based on your cabinet structure. So in this case, I'm working in a client matter cabinet. So it's going to create client matter teams in Teams for each particular matter. Here I have a file that I've already checked out to Teams, and I have another file here that I just sent a copy to Teams. So the difference is if you check it out to Teams, it makes it so it's read-only checked out in Worldox, so while you're collaborating on it in Teams, you're not also editing that same document in Worldox. In this other option where I just send a copy to Teams, maybe you just want to put a copy in Teams so the other parties have access to just view and read that file, but they don't plan on editing it while it's in Teams. So you have those two different options. And what you can do is get to these by either using the Teams menu up on your menu bar or by just right-clicking on a file and pulling up the command menu, and you'll see the Teams menu right here. So we have our checkout option, our don't checkout, and just send a copy to Teams. And then you can also, for files that you've already checked out, you can import them as a version or import over the existing. Or you could message a file to Teams, and what that'll do is that'll just copy the file to Teams and add a message to it. So in this example, I'm going to go ahead and just check this file out. And what it's going to do, it's going to locate this particular client and matter within Teams and default to sending it there. But if you want to send it, let's say you want to create a new channel under this particular client, you can hit the plus sign, create a new channel under there and put the document there. But by default, since it's for this particular matter, it's going to put it in that particular Teams matter folder. And now I'm going to just click the upload button. It says the file was uploaded. Do you want to add a message to Teams? So if let's say you want to add some notes about this to show up in Teams, I can say yes. Add your notes and then hit post, and then that'll put that in Teams as well. Then since you added it with a post, it's going to take you right to Teams and show you that. So right here's shows you the document that I've posted in this particular Teams channel along with the comments that I added in those notes. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK on that. Notice it also marks the file as checked out, says who it was checked out by, the date, and that it was sent to Teams. And it's also going to audit this information. So if I right-click on this file and run an audit, I'll see in the audit that it lets you know the file was sent to Teams. So it will audit that as well. Now once it's in Teams, it's outside of Worldox. And then all the administration as far as who has permissions to that file, who can edit that file or just view that file or post comments about that file, that's all handled through your Teams administration. So that's not controlled through Worldox. Worldox is just giving you a method to get that file to Teams so that you can have other parties look at it. Once it's in Teams, that's all managed by Teams. Now let's have this file right here that's been worked on, and now I want to pull this back in. I can right-click on it, go to my Teams, import from Teams as a new version. So I want to keep this one as this version and add the one from Teams that's been collaborated on as a new version. It'll go ahead and find that file. It checks it back in, so it removes that checked out message. It's now back to normal in Worldox as a regular file that you can now edit. Lets me know that It imported it from Teams. And also when it gets it from Teams, it's going to delete the copy in Teams. So it doesn't leave a copy in Teams. As it checks it back in, it deletes it from Teams and then puts it back into Worldox. Now another thing you can do is through your favorite matters, or also the same thing holds true if you do cabinet folder browsing. If I right click on a particular matter, I'll see these menu items: create team, file from Teams to Worldox, or I can send a message to team. So create team, let's say you haven't been working in Teams yet for this particular matter. You want to create the team in advance so that the Teams administrator can decide who should have permissions to that team in Teams and apply those Teams permissions. You could set that team up in advance before you start sending files there by using this create team option. Now another thing you can do is I've got a file here in this particular matter that was created by the third-party outside people that I'm working with, and they put a file in there, and now I want to get that file into Worldox. If I right click on here and say file from Teams to Worldox, it's going to check that particular matter folder, and it's going to give you a list of all these files. I can see these two files came from Worldox, and this is the one that was entered by the outside party. So I can select that file, go through an import process, fill out a profile screen with the metadata, and then save that file in Worldox. So it gives you that ability as well. So now let me go into here, and if let's say I just want to right click on this file and I want to send it to Teams, but in this case I don't want to check it out. I'm just going to put a copy in there just for the outside staff that have access to that team to be able to view and check and review that document, but they're not going to be editing it. Once again, it's going to find the corresponding team. Now, if a team doesn't exist yet, it's going to say that it couldn't find the team. Do you want to create it? At that point, you could say yes, it'll create the team and then upload the file. But in this case, since the team already exists, I just choose upload. It asks you once again, do you want to send a message to Teams? I'm going to say no. I just want to put the file up there so they can go into the file section of that team and look at it. And right here, it just lets you know that it sent it. Notice it's different than checked out. So if you check it out, it makes it read-only in Worldox, so you can't edit it while it's being collaborated on in Teams. If you're just sending a copy to Teams, it just puts a message in the comments to let you know that it sent it to Teams. So that's a quick overview of the Teams integration, how you can send files to Teams and get files back from Teams, or import new files that were created by outside parties that are in Teams into Worldox. Once again, once the files are in Teams, it's up to your Teams administration to grant the permissions and the access and that to those individual matter folders in Teams. That's outside of the scope of Worldox. Worldox is just letting you get the file to Teams and then pull the file back from Teams. As far as administering it while it's in Teams, that's all done through your Teams administration.